Hey guys, Kyle here from Guitar. I'm just gonna do this video today. This is gonna be my analysis on the weekend's rugby games, Scotland versus South Africa game. This video I said I was gonna be doing in my last video. So I'm just gonna basically go through it, go through my thoughts on the game, and also put up some pictures of the match itself. And hope you like this video, and like what I've got to say, this one's a bit more scripted than the ones I usually do, so yeah, we'll just go off that and see how we get on, and hope you like it. First of all, I have to say congratulations to South Africa. They definitely deserve to beat us on Saturday. The better team, marginally. It's a case of small things make a big difference, and that's international rugby. Really, I thought the same against Wales. I mean, I didn't think we were that much worse than Wales. I just thought it was like little mistakes and things made a big difference in that game, and it was the same here. I mean, South Africa were smarter than us at key times. They were better than us at key times. They defended very well as well, and definitely got it right when it mattered. I thought we put in a good effort. I can't fault the effort the players put in for Scotland. I'm just going to be talking about this mostly from a Scottish perspective, by the way, being Scottish myself. But yeah, anyway, the effort was really, really good. Can't fault it. It was just, again, really frustrating that it was just little things, little decisions, little silly mistakes that were letting us down. And I thought, it was sifted it through the team throughout the whole 80 minutes. I mean, I thought we tried to start the game far too fast when we didn't really need to. I mean, South Africans' first try came after a Finn Russell crossfield kick just behind the halfway line in our own half, and he kicked it. I thought it was too hasty. Tried to find Tommy Seymour on the wing. The South African winger won it, and in the end, it came to Pollard from that breakdown. He spotted forwards in the defensive line and a wee gap. He went through the gap, offloaded it to the scrum half Piper, who ran straight through, and it ended up being a great try for Jesse Creel. And I have to say that, it was a great try. I don't think there was much we could have done, because South Africa played with great pace to get the ball forward, and then Creel just barged over. But at the same time, it was so avoidable. I mean, we didn't need to kick from halfway at that time. We could have just, kept going through the phases, being a bit patient, and maybe kick downfield. But I think we tried to play too much too early, and that cost us. However, playing in our own half did work later on when we scored a fantastic try through Peter Horn, which was, I think, our style of rugby at its best, where we just got the ball to Hugh Jones, made a magnificent offload out to Sean Maitland. Maitland got forward, and Hugh Jones got back in support fairly quickly, and then he made the pass for Peter Horn to score the try. It was a brilliant try. Hugh Jones definitely back to his best today. I mean, I know I criticised him against Wales, mostly for his defence. On Saturday, he was definitely good in both defence and attack, and he contributed 2 brilliant offloads for Peter Horn's try, and he was, had a great game, and I thought he had a great game throughout. But then, again, after we scored the try, it's just about, we have a habit of not concentrating properly at restarts, which has been a problem for some time. But in this case, we got the first bit right. We caught the restart fine, but then we tried to play it out for our own 22 when it really wasn't on. Took it into contact, lost the ball. Khaleesi fairly won it off the deck when it was a loose ball, and in the end it came back out to Henry Pollard. He spotted some space on the left hand side. He ran for it, dummied. Sean Maitland fell for it, and Pollard went through to score. And again, it was just, how basic. We were in our own 22. We didn't need to play it out. I know Gregor Townsend said after the match that he thought there was an opportunity there out wide, but still, it's in your own 22. Just keep it steady. Either go for the box kick or, protect it enough, put it back to the 10 or 15 and kick it long. And again, we didn't need to play out our own 22 at that time. You just got back into the game. Just keep it steady. But obviously, again, a couple of penalties later, a penalty traded from each team, 17-10, and then Stuart Hogg made an absolutely brilliant break down the left, ran through, put a great kick through, forced Willie LaRue of South Africa to kick it out, 5 metre line out, and then we showed great innovation with Stuart McInally just throwing it over the top. Hamish Watson on the ground, ran straight through the gap, scored. 17 all after Laidlaw's conversion. So that was a brilliant try, great bit of innovation, very similar to the try we scored against Ireland in the 2017 Six Nations, where it just went over the top and just ran straight through and caught them off guard. So that was brilliant to see. So then, just before half time, we gave away a penalty. WP Nel was unlucky, in my opinion, when the scrum went down, because he obviously had the short arm, the tight head, when referees look for the long arm. So in that sense, he needs to be more careful. But the way the scrum went down, it was a lottery, really. It could have gone either way. The penalty came from that. Henri Pollard kicked a very good penalty, and South Africa go into the lead 2017 at half time. In the second half, I thought we started okay, but it went on. This is where I'm going to get into the yellow card for Willie le Roux, where it was a long pass out, went towards Tommy Seymour, and Willie le Roux stuck his hand out. I thought he was trying to catch the ball, and it didn't seem like he was attempting. He was trying to cynically bat it forward to block our move. But technically, by law, he put one hand out, you run the risk, and it's a yellow card. I thought it was harsh. I didn't agree with it. To me, I think that's something that World Rugby needs to look at. It needs to be, I don't know about change, but it needs to be, I think, like only a yellow card if it's cynically batting the ball forwards to deliberately stop the opposition. And I don't think Willie le Roux was doing that. I think he was genuinely trying to go for the ball and was just unlucky. But then the next 10 minutes is where, again, we just get it really wrong. We get the penalty, back to 20 all, 3 points scored, but then we just don't manage those 10 minutes with a man advantage properly. And South Africa, to be fair, seemed to get galvanised by that, because they were, a lot more intense in defence than at the breakdowns, and they got obviously 3 points during that 10 minutes from a penalty. We just didn't manage it properly. We were in their own half quite a lot of the time. But then we got a driving maul in their 22, set up, went for the drive, got the penalty off it. And this is where we should have gone for the 3 points. At 23-20, it's a tight game, 20 minutes to go. You go for the 3 points. You get level and you go start back up again. But we went for the corner. We're feeling ambitious and confident in our maul. Somewhat understandable, but then inevitably we mess up the next driving maul. I think inevitably, others can say differently. But we mess up the next driving maul. South Africa managed to sack it, and then it goes to ground legally and they get the turnover. But again, it's just poor decision making. I mean, just take the 3 points, get yourself level. It's a pretty ping pong game as it is already, and you just given South Africa a big boost in momentum with that there, and that was just badly. I would say I agree with John Barclay actually when he said badly executed more than bad decision, but in hindsight it was a bad decision. The last 20 minutes after that, South Africa seemed to get all the momentum for the rest of the game. After that, Stuart Hogg going off injured, I think didn't help us. He made a brilliant break down the left again, and was unlucky not to get it, and then he had to go off injured after that. So I hope he's okay. I really do, because obviously he's our most dangerous attacker. And then after that, South Africa get another penalty. Elton Janjes kicking a very good penalty, to be fair, to get 6 points clear. And from then on, South Africa, for the most part, were just smarter than us. They sucked the life out of us. Finn Russell, I thought, kicked the ball away far too much today. I understand sometimes if it's a blitz defence and you're on the back foot, just need to kick it and get some momentum, but at times you either execute the kick wrong, or we just need to be a bit more patient and keep the ball for a bit. But it didn't happen. So yeah, South Africa defended well. They were better at the breakdowns. We weren't getting enough men to the breakdowns in the last 20 minutes. We were too slow too often. I mean, at times it was dubious how South Africa were going over the ball, and that they were often putting their hands over the ball and then going back for the ball, when by law you should be going for the ball. And in other times they're going, dubious whether they're going in from the side or not at the breakdowns. But yeah, I mean, it's the way it is. You win some, you lose some. South Africa did deserve to win. It was very frustrating, because there's a lot we could have done differently. But, it is what it is. The referee, Romain Poit, I thought he had a very mixed game. As I said, those things where South Africa were going over the ball and then putting their hands back in to try and get it. He got some of those wrong, and he wasn't always consistent, because he penalised us a couple of times for doing that wrong. And again, it's the way it is. You win again. The referee, sometimes it's a lottery at the breakdown. I'm not gonna say it's all Roman Poit's fault we lost. However, I do have a bit of a gripe with the TMO Ben Skeen. Ben Skeen, can I ask you a question? Why do you hate Scotland? I mean, you were TMO for our World Cup quarter-final against Australia. You agreed to the yellow card for Sean Actually, I'll give you a fairness and consistency here because he gave the yellow card to Willie LaRue here as well. But that Sean Maitland yellow card I didn't think was a yellow card either in the World Cup. But you also, more importantly in that game, missed a late tackle on Stuart Hogg by Drew Mitchell in that game after he kicked the ball away, and you didn't go back and check it at all. You should have clearly noticed that Khaleesi headbutt, because I couldn't see what Scotland player it was exactly, but he was holding him to the ground, and then Khaleesi just headbutted him, and it should have been a red card. It should have been spotted. It was clear from the TMO's point of view it should have been spotted, and it wasn't. And then the only serious offence I remember him actually pinging for South Africa was the apart from the Willie LaRue yellow card, obviously, was the Pieter-Steph du Toit shoulder charge on Hamish Watson near the end, which should have been a yellow card in my opinion, because if he got Watson by the head, then it would have been a red. So it was just below the head, so it should have been a yellow, I think. But there we go, that's the way it is. Khaleesi, on the other hand, you should have been red carded for that headbutt. It was totally unnecessary, even if you were being held to the ground. And I hope you get banned for a few weeks and you miss the rest of South Africa's tour, because that was not necessary at all. There were other things that happened. Obviously, Hugh Jones put a kick through early on and he was blocked clearly. I think it was by Jesse Creel, pardon me. And yeah, that should have been a penalty to us at least, and it was missed. The TMO and missed it, and there was a couple other things that happened in the game as well. But again, it is what it is. I don't want to blame the referee or the TMO too much for us losing, because we were mostly the architects of our own downfall, but those things didn't help. But again, you win some and you lose some. Going forward, I think Scotland, we need to use this as a learning curve. It was a game we could have won, but again, it's about being smart at key times and not making so many silly errors. And after score of points, just keep it simple. Don't try and overplay it. Make sure you're getting enough men to the breakdown to secure your own ball, because that was our problem against Wales as well, as we weren't securing our own ball enough. And we, again, was our problem in the last half hour than anything against South Africa. I thought it was our problem. Our bench on Saturday didn't help either. I can't fault the effort of some of the players again, but they just didn't make the impact we needed from the bench. I thought our standout performer, Stuart Hogg, had an excellent game. He was constantly a threat every time he got the ball. Hugh Jones, the same. When he got the ball, he was a threat. He made some delightful passes for Peter Horne's try, and also he was offered variety, and he defended better than he did against Wales, definitely. Hamish Watson, again, an absolute workhorse. Gave it everything. He was carrying well. He was caught being a nuisance for them. I thought Peter Horne had a very good game at 12 and definitely justified his selection over Alex Dunbar, in my opinion. Sean Maitland also had a very good game, and the rest of them all did okay, I think. I can't really single them out as any bad performers. It was pick out one performance I could criticise greatly. It would be Ryan Wilson, because I think he went missing again. I mean, it's not the first match lately. I think he's just gone missing. He just kind of drifts in and out of games quite a lot, I find, recently, and I think he's in danger of losing his place, and I personally wouldn't select him for the match against Argentina next week. But again, we'll see what Gregor might think differently. We'll see what happens there. I thought for the most part, our pack, we contained the powerful South Africans very well until the subs came on, and then we were less good at that. So going forward against Argentina, we need to make sure we're getting the little things well. The things I've said we did wrong today, we need to make sure we get right there. It won't be obviously black and white simple as that. That's the sport, doesn't always happen that way. But we need to beat Argentina to ensure that this is a pretty successful autumn series, because to me it's a step backwards if we can't beat Argentina next week. As for South Africa, I think yous are definitely back as a force in World Rugby. Without a doubt, your blitz defence I thought was very good, but gave us a lot of problems. And obviously you're very brutal at the breakdown, as you usually are. The last couple of years, I don't know what you've been doing the last couple of years. You just seem to have been fading in and out, but Rassie Erasmus has definitely got you focused, got you back to basics, got you playing the Springbok way. I thought Henri Pollard had an excellent game, was definitely deserving man of the match, kicked most of his goals and really stood out from 10. That new scrum half Piper, I thought he was a very good find at number 9. Had a really good game. Looks a really good player for use. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps Faf de Klerk out the team going forward, because I think he looks a really good player. I thought Jesse Creel played very well at 13 as well. Carried pretty hard. Obviously got caught a couple of times in defence, mainly with Peter Horn's try, you could argue. And most of the pack, again, as physical and solid as you normally are. So yeah, I think Rassie Erasmus has definitely brought that mojo back to Springbok rugby. Obviously, you've still got a bit of a way to go to be the best side in the world, but you can go into Wales next week with some confidence, and I actually think you could win that game. I really do. It won't be easy at all, because Wales are doing pretty well at the minute. But yeah, I think you can go into that game with confidence. And that pretty much brings us to a close. Hope you like this review. Hopefully Scotland can beat Argentina next week, and that we will finish the autumn on a high and go into the Six Nations with some confidence. And in the Six Nations, I'm hoping we can do well as well and at least get 3 wins. But again, we'll see what happens there. So obviously all focused on Argentina next week. Hopefully we can do it. Hope you guys liked what I had to say. If you agree, or you just want to leave comments and feedback, feel free, absolutely. I'll see you later. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and take care. Okay guys, so the audio for this video was recorded before the Citing Commissioner made their decision on whether to penalise Sayo Khaleesi for his headbutt on Peter Horn or not. Obviously it's come out that they're not going to carry this out any further, and that he has been let off free, which to me I think is disgraceful, because, and I'll read you the quote now of what it says. It says, the Citing Commissioner determined that there was mitigating factors which meant that the action did not meet the red card threshold, including the player being illegally prevented from rejoining the fray by Scotland's Peter Horn, and the moderate force of the strike to the head. It's like, what is that? It's like, a strike to the head is a strike to the head. I remember back in 2010, Jimmy Cowan was pulling back Baki's Bota as they were both going to the ball. They went to ground, then Baki's Bota went in straight up headbutted him, and he got 9-week ban for that back in 2010. This was very similar. Sure, Peter Horn was holding on to Khaleesi, but he had no right to swing his head back and headbutt him straight in the head. So to me, that was absolutely disgusting that he's got off with that. And seeing the reaction on Twitter and on Facebook pages from some is good to see, because it sets a very dangerous precedent to our sport if stuff like that is allowed to get off and folk are saying, oh, but he was held on to, so it's fine for him to go for the headbutt. It's a really shocking thing, I think, and it's not good enough for our sport. Those kind of actions need to be eliminated completely, because rugby, it's a very physical sport, but it's also within the boundaries of laws that are there for a reason, and that was breaking the law, and he should have got red carded for that, even though he was being held on to, and he should be getting a ban for that. So I think it's disgusting that World Rugby have let him off, and that is what I have to say on that. So yeah, I'm just putting that at the end of the video, because when I initially recorded the audio, as I said, the audio was recorded before the Citing Commissioner's decision. Anyway, that's all I've got to say at the end of it. Take care. I'll see you next time.